Matt, what is in your hand right now?
I have napkins, and I'm...
They're soaked in blood.
My mouth's bleeding, yeah.
We're not shaking hands when this is over.
No, we're not. We're not shaking hands, not at all. Yeah, I've had one of those, hey, can your day get any shittier?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because now I'm going to kick you in the balls.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
So we're recording this podcast from our sister station, which is an intermediate-sized rental car from Budget. I'm in San Francisco, sitting alongside the mighty Matt Pinfield. And Matt, before we even get into all the questions I have for you, you're a wreck today.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I woke up this morning. I'm just going to be honest about it. I'm on medications for my heart, and actually they've been very helpful to me. It was, I went through some crazy stuff over the last couple of years.
By the last couple of years, you mean the last 50? And really?
No, yeah, well, crazy. If you want to get into the real,
if you want to be specific, your entire life, right?
Yeah, but honestly, my whole thing was that I'm on a bunch of meds, and my girlfriend looked at the one heart med that slows down your heartbeat, and I didn't even question it because that's what we do, and she gave me the pills. I mean, she goes, look, if I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead already.
Right.
But the best thing
and they wouldn't be able to find the body, too.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, she gave me the pills, and I woke up at 3 a.m. getting ready for my morning show here in San Francisco.
You do mornings at KFOG?
I do mornings at KFOG here in San Fran. And San Francisco, they don't like when you say San Fran.
That's right, like Chi-Town.
It's like the Bay. Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare you, right? It's almost like you don't say Greenwich Village, you say the Village.
I say Greenwich. So
Greenwich, yeah. No, I totally know, right? So, I get up, and I literally fell on the floor,
which is completely frightening.
Yeah, dude. I went into the bathroom to pee, and she heard a thump, and I fell on the floor.
Man. At 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning. She thought, Matt's like a bull in a china shop. He might knock something over, which is what she'll say. And I was on the floor. And I looked at her, and she goes, I got to get off these tiles. Tiles are cold, especially in San Francisco. So I crawled under the carpet. I went back to bed.
Hey, is this a good time to bring up Out on the Tiles, the classic Led Zeppelin?
Oh, yeah, I love so much.
One of the best songs.
Dude, I mean, I'm never going to ever listen to that song the same way again.
How could you?
From Led Zeppelin 3.
Exactly.
I mean, I love that song so much. And now it's like, so literally what happened was she over-medicated me by accident is what she did. So I fell again.
Oh my God.
In the kitchen, she's getting me water.
This happened today. The day we're recording this happened today. This all
happened this morning, yeah. I fell on the floor while she's trying to get me water. And she said, the first thing you said because you were like basically unconscious. And I mean, I'm talking about being sober. It was the meds that I was taking because there were 3 different meds that slow your heartbeat. Well, it's 2, but when you add the 3rd dose, not really good, and it was completely unintentional. So I look at her and go, what am I doing back on the fucking tiles? God, I just curled up and went to bed for an hour and a half and then came back out again, and then it happened again. It was very scary. She's like, I want to call 911, and I'm like, no. Let's try and get through this, because you know what it's like. You end up in an emergency room. You're waiting 20 hours. I mean,
and people are pointing and staring, saying, "What happened to that nice MTV guy? Why is he here? What's the deal with him?"
Yeah, it was crazy. And then I had oral surgery in the afternoon.
Wait, you had oral surgery the same day, which would explain, Matt, what is in your hand right now?
I have napkins, and
they're soaked in blood.
My mouth's bleeding. Yeah.
We're not shaking hands when this is over.
No, we're not. We're not shaking hands. Not at all. Yeah, I've had one of those. Hey, can your day get any shittier?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because now I'm going to kick you in the balls.
All right, yeah, go ahead. That's right. Didn't I ask you to do that so we could just
Yeah.
really top it off?
I laced up the Doc Marten boots with the steel toe. Let's do this thing. Let's really.
Yeah. Just make the make that 24 hours the most special.
Well,
so James, what's up, man?
So, I'm literally in San Francisco for a day. The fact that you jumped in my rental car to do this after your shitacular day, I can't thank you enough. This is truly a pleasure.
Yeah, James, when you called me, I'm like, I was coming back from Daly City from my from the dentist. I'm like, man, no, I'm definitely going to do it, and I'm glad
you rock.
We did. Yeah,
Thank
man, you know.
Well, it's we started to talk about this before I was rolling, but reading your book, all these things that I've done, my insane, improbable rock life. I mean, I can't help as I read this book, but feel a kindred spirit in you. For example, I got into radio because I love music.
Yes.
I wanted to share it with people.
I
wanted to talk about it. I didn't want to be famous, which is good news. I didn't want to be, a star. I just wanted to play cool music. And
that's all I wanted to.
I read your book. I'm like, well, shit. Twinsies.
We are. Right? Exactly, man. I never got into it for the fame at all. I mean, obviously, did I ever really think they put a short, bald, chubby dude on MTV? I didn't. It wasn't for me. It was like I just wanted to have the outlet of expression of music, to turn people on to music, which is why radio was my love and my dream from the time I was a kid.
Well, your story is about doing college radio. Billy Idol coming in there, getting coke to the tits in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, just amazing things you witnessed from the beginning, but you were involved in radio. You were championing music. And you did it throughout your career. You were behind the scenes doing A&R. You signed Crossfade.
Yeah.
What I really meant to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I love that song. That's a great hook.
Cold's a great song.
Yeah.
So Far Away, Colors, all those things.
Yeah.
The whole record's actually a really great record. And what people don't really know, which I'm going to tell you right now that has really not been ever put out publicly, is that Ed Sloan, who wrote all the songs, is really, really smart guy and a great songwriter. He literally, the drums were all programmed. They weren't real.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't tell.
Because it sounds like an organic rock band.
It sounds like yeah. Well, he created the entire thing. Not to say that the other guys weren't involved, but
That's wild.
the drums on the record were not live drums.
That's crazy. Now, here's an
And
example.
we're rockheads, you and I. So
We are. And here's, I think, from your book, a line that really summarizes you. Because your book, it's about your life, but more specifically, it's about your relationship with music. You talk about stuff, you talk about rehab, you talk about a life-threatening illness at a young age, but really it keeps coming back to how that relates to music and how you related music to these experiences.
Oh, yeah.
Here's proof of that. Here's a line from your book. I didn't want access to get head. I thought that maybe, before some girl got on her knees to service a British bass player, he might have a few seconds to tell me what inspired him to come up with the lick on a cut buried on side 2 of the band's third album. That's Matt Pinfield.
That is me. I know it's true.
Now, nothing wrong with the head, mind you, but first and foremost, let's get the info on the deep cuts.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's funny as hell. And believe me, don't think I'm not a fan of head. But I will say this, and I have total respect for women. You've been hearing that a lot in the news.
Oh, no,
lately,
no one respects women more than you, Mr. Trump, I know.
Yeah, anyway. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the deal. I mean, I'm very honest in the book, James. Like, I tell the truth, where a lot of other people would maybe be a little more, I don't know. I mean,
you own all your stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you say early on, short and bald and chubby. You say it right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You say
I've fought addiction, alcoholism. It's a daily fight. Yes, I'm very honest about the fact that I think being real is the thing that cuts through always. When you're playing music or bands that you love, or music or artists, I think that if you can. Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong. There was a period where I was dealing with my issues, where I didn't really want to be open and upfront about them, and then something really changed in me, and I decided, I've done tons of drugs. I've had alcohol problems. I mean, hey, when I went on the air in New York City in 2009.
This was WRXP.
Yeah, and I talked about how I needed to go away for 28 days. The most beautiful thing that happened was when I got back, not only all the people calling in, but when I got back, there were people that would be waiting by the elevators to say that it actually changed the way that they decided how to deal with it with their families and their loved ones. So the message reached someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were a figurehead for their struggle.
Yeah. And, like I said, we always call ourselves garden variety when it comes to that stuff, because it's like we're not special when it comes to that. But look, if there's anything in the world that, the book, why the book means so much to me, and the idea of being able to be expressive like you are, and championing artists that you love, is that you have that opportunity, to live through and for the music and to bring it to other people. And that was all I ever wanted to do from the time I was a kid, man.
It's interesting reading the book in someone else's hands with similar experiences. That author could come across as a dick, a show off, a name dropper.
Yeah.
All these stories, whether it's Bowie or Lou Reed or Ramones, the Killers, you're talking as a fan. You had this unprecedented access. The Stones turned to you to do the interview special. U2's on a first name basis with you, but there's still an element of pinch me. Holy shit! I can't believe this is actually my life.
It is my shit. Yeah, it's totally. It is me. I don't really believe. One of the things that I think was kind of instilled by my mother and father, and look, like anybody else, I had struggles with my, your parents. You're in your house, you're growing up. I mean, talk about my brother and my dad in the book. Really how Vietnam was a really dividing thing in my house, and I'm a kid sitting at this table.
Yeah. And
it's like war, and I had a front seat for it. And, I don't know, for me, music was always a star. I mean, I always looked at myself as I was a messenger. You know what I mean? Like, I feel I've always been the messenger. And one of the things I've said is I'm a music enthusiast, not a music elitist.
Right, and that is a clear difference. Because you know those people who are snobby and pissy about how much they know and what they know.
Yeah.
Not you.
Who cares? I mean, with that, and I just look at that, and $5 will get you a venti coffee at Starbucks.
Exactly. Actually, it won't. But
it won't.
Probably not. I go for the iced quad venti, which is like a $6 drink. It's
right?
Stupid, dude. That leads me to something that bugs me, and I'm thinking you'll agree with me. This idea of guilty pleasures. You're talking about music elitism. I used to think maybe in the 90s when I thought it was too cool for school, working at Q101 or whatever, I believed that things were guilty pleasures. Now that I've gotten older and smarter, it's just stuff you love. And
it is. And it's funny. There's the thing in the book, which I love because I'm in a band, as a teen in the 70s, young teen, playing the teen dances for, junior high school.
Sweet.
In Jersey, right? And we're doing Bowie, Aerosmith, Kiss, even Roxy Music and Van Morrison, believe it or not. And then I could just BTO, whatever it was. And it's really funny because when you're a kid, you're so much more self-conscious. So I remember buying the ABBA single SOS,
which is their best song.
Yeah, it is.
That builds a great momentum.
It does.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful. The production.
The Mad Caddies version of that is awesome.
It is. Mad Caddies killed it, right? It's a great song. But when I was a kid, I'd put the window down. I don't want nobody in the neighborhood to know I was listening to ABBA.
But as you get older, you're like, oh, come on.
Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
It's good, man.
Yeah,
this is great
It's stuff I like, whatever.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Kiss. How amazing. There's a great story in your book where you actually sang along with Kiss as your backing band. You're doing like Deuce and
100,000 Years.
Yeah,
Do You Love Me and the Rock Bottom. I mean, I remember because my ex-wife was my girlfriend at the time. It was already a surreal weekend because Ben Stiller played me. He was in prosthetic makeup to be me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You tell the story in the book.
The VMAs. And the next day I go out and Gene Simmons takes me out to lunch, and then I go there and Paul doesn't show up really, and then Gene makes me get on his boots, and I'm just break my ankle because I'm such a short guy.
Right, and those boots are like monolithic.
Yeah,
they're huge.
They're monolithic, absolutely. And when he offered to let me sing, that story is amazing. But, everybody, whether you were in Sonic Youth or you were in Rage Against the Machine, were going, man, holy shit, that's a dream. You know what I mean? Because we love Kiss. We just do.
Who does, right. And the thing is...
And then sing over there. Oh, go ahead.
Whether it's you doing 120 Minutes or you on the radio in Jersey or New York, bands, certainly from what I've seen, man, they appreciate it when they know someone at the radio station is a fan and gets it, because there are plenty of people who are the opposite of what we were talking about earlier, who just want to hear themselves talk on the radio. But bands really appreciate when they're set up with someone who clearly is interested in who they are and wants to get to know them more as an artist.
Yeah, you're like me, James. If you did the local music show, it's obvious to me, which I know you did, that you cared about and did your research, and you're giving a leg up to artists that are local. And my whole philosophy when I was a DJ on the Jersey Shore in Asbury Park was that local bands, and I was a music director and program director, right? Mm-hmm. My whole thing was, I had this philosophy that if you play a local artist in the middle of all the huge artists, then the perception is that they're on the same level. And
exactly.
I thought it was the most important thing in the world. It sounds like a funny reference, because we talk about eating and we're in the car, but sandwich programming is what I meant. Like, it's literally, all right, there's 2 slices of bread, and that's
exactly right.
And you're right, and then you play a local artist who doesn't have a record deal, who has great songs but has not been discovered. Sometimes they might not even have the money to put out their own release back in those days, in the 90s.
Does it surprise you, as a former A&R guy, as a music head, how truly good home recordings have become, like quality-wise?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I really do.
I get submissions every week for the local show at KQX, and I'm stunned by how good they sound.
Yeah, because, with all the new programs, it used to be a situation where, now a young man or woman, a boy or girl in their bedroom can write, record, they can multi-track. If you're like me, even in the late 70s, I used to bounce tracks on cassettes.
Sure. Oh yeah.
All right. You know what I mean? Like, I did all this kind of crazy recording, and I loved it because that's what I was doing. It's like, people call it the mad scientist. No, it's not. It's just, what it is you want to record and to write music, and that's your way to feel through the writing of a song you might have. Maybe you play all the instruments, maybe you don't. Maybe you use a loop of a drum beat, I don't know. But the point is, it gives you the opportunity to record. Certainly there's different way people view what's going on, because obviously, with streaming and everything else, people haven't worked it out. But listen, I worked at a record company, and the record companies made a lot of money in the days when there was no other way to get music except for CDs, cassettes, and vinyl, and earlier than that, 8 tracks. So for me, but I love the fact, I wish as a kid I had the technology they have now.
Oh, forget it.
The stuff I could have done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm being honest, and it's really funny. Somebody made a video for I used to have this, I used to do all these, kind of, once in a while I would do these crazy characters as songs over instrumentals, and I just record them in the production studio of my college station at Rutgers. And somebody made a video for one of them. I was like, what?
That's insane.
That's insane. I saw that one. Oh my God.
You got to be kidding me.
It's so ridiculous. And you know what? But that was the thing. You know, when you're young and you have that, you have the time, and even it doesn't really matter whatever age you are. And that's the beauty of music. Look at Charles Bradley. Dap King's guys, worked with Sharon Jones and Amy Winehouse. Got him. He didn't get his deal till he was like 50 years old.
Right.
And that to me is a beautiful thing. Okay, because you can be discovered, especially with that soul revivalism that is going on with that. But you know what? But young people can sit there, and that's really what the Crossfade record was. If you think about, I sang Cohen and Cambria on Crossfade, and a bunch of other bands. But Crossfade, Ed Sloan was working as a computer programmer and made that record in his house, in his basement.
So was it one of those things where you got him signed, there's a record, and then suddenly it's, oh shit, now we have to have a band and figure out how to tour on it?
No, I mean, a couple of the guys were already with him, but they weren't. They were by no means seasoned at that period of time. I mean, they needed to get there. Ed was doing that like, it was his creative outlet. Go to work in the daytime, and like so many other people do that are music lovers, or write songs and then went home and wrote the record in his basement. So I had Randy Staub, who mixed Metallica's Black Album and a ton of other great records. I suggested that we go work with Randy to take the record and mix those tracks.
That's awesome.
I also helped Ed reformulize one of the songs. The second single, So Far Away, was only a verse long, and I helped him arrange it and get it.
And you also encouraged him to change his band name.
Oh, yeah. You saw that, right?
Yeah. Fuck.
Sugar Daddy Superstar. Like, dudes, you're not a disco band. You're not a guy in a big fur suit.
You talk about something in your book, which this has been something I've been saying for a while, and you crystallize it perfectly in the book. The need for curators. The irony with the internet, every song ever is out there. Anything you want is findable. It's overwhelming to the point that it's almost not even worth trying. You tend to retreat to the stuff you grew up with because I don't even know how to dig into this. I'm speaking on behalf of the population. You were talking about this in the context of you going back to do 120 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you said, despite the way technology's come along and music has changed, there's still a need for someone to cut through all that and be a trusted voice.
You have to do that. I mean, there are definitely certain websites. If it's rock, hard rock, it's Blabbermouth and Loudwire. If it's like super indie, it's maybe Stereo Gum or Pitchfork. But in reality, it has to be a trusted voice. You know what I mean? And I was so blessed and lucky that that's the position I was in. Timing was everything, but it was also what I spent my whole life literally, doing no matter what. Whether I was sitting at a bar talking to somebody and boring them to death, or it's like on MTV, on Matt Rock, which was the next part of Headbangers Ball, or 120 minutes, and it was for me. I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity to do that, because I still meet people all the time and go, man, you turned me on to so many great rock bands I love, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I had that opportunity.
Did you realize in the moment when you were doing 120 minutes in the 90s what it was, what its impact was and would be?
I knew that the show meant the world. I knew it meant the world to me. And I loved it because I felt like I was in the place I needed to be. I wanted to be there exposing the underdogs, man, like the new bands, the bands that hadn't gotten there all the way yet. And because the way you and I talked about the truth that I've always been this kind of person that I don't need it to fit into a uniform. If I love it, I love it, And that means if it's a metal record, if it's an alternative record, even if it's a pop record, we talked about ABBA. I mean, I just believe that you have to I don't know, to have that opportunity. And you know, the most beautiful thing about it, James, is people still walk up to me and go, hey man, you turn me on to so many bands that I love. And you know, that's the muck. There's no reward better. I
agree.
I don't need them. It's not the money. It's not about money. It's not, honestly, it's not about money. It's not about fame.
Right.
It's all I ever wanted to do, James, was be able to tell people about artists that I loved. I wanted to share the love and the passion. And you know, it's funny. My high school yearbook, you see me holding a Tom Petty and Boomtown Rats record. You know, before they blew up. You know, well, Boomtown Rats never really blew up in the country.
By the way, Like Clockwork, one of my favorite songs from that band.
Best.
Oh my God. That's the best.
One of the best ever. Dude, I love those records.
I do too. The Fine Art of Surfacing is pretty
great.
untouchable, yeah.
Fine Art of Surfacing, man, you know what I mean? Tonic for the Troops.
Yep.
And even the first one are great records, man.
I'll even cop to liking that Geldof solo album with This Is the World Calling.
I love Geldof, dude, yeah.
There's a story you tell in the book. You're at the Playboy Mansion, and you walk into a room, and there are two prominent drummers getting laid simultaneously. Yeah. And I love this story. I mean, I think you said something like this in the book. It's exactly the hedonism you'd want to see in a situation like that. But one of them just turned to you and said, "Oh, hey, Matt, what's up?" Just
did a one-handed push-up. It was unbelievable. Oh yeah, and you know I love him. He's one of my close friends. You know what's funny about that story was it was just another one of those surreal moments.
One of the themes of your book, and it's a pretty overt theme. It's this idea of being an outsider.
Yeah.
As a kid, even as an adult, and certainly the musicians you talk to, that theme seems pervasive in your book. Do you still think of yourself as an outsider?
You know what I think of myself as an insider, outsider, because, you know, I think no matter what, the love of music is a very, very personal thing. But I consider myself on the borderline of both. How can I say I'm not? I mean, you know, I've actually been so blessed to interview. I've probably done 1,000 interviews.
Sure, I believe
easily.
that. Yeah,
and I've interviewed so many of my heroes. I mean, you know, I've lived the dream that so many other music lovers and enthusiasts did. I've been very blessed. You know, I still picture myself, and I don't ever take it for granted, because, you know, all I wanted to do was talk to the artists that I loved to know why they wrote a song or what drove them to pick up an instrument. I wanted to know, because I know that when I bought a record and I immersed myself in a record, immersed myself in songs, that there was something, you know, it just connected with me. It also, you know, it took you to another place, or it took you right to the center of your heart. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't just about escape. It was about relating to whatever you were going through at that moment.
And that goes back to what I was saying. I mean, this book is about your relationship with music.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well, the thing that I'm glad that people have understood about the book is that it's not, hey, well, I was hanging out with you two. Hey, I was at David Bowie's house. What, you know, look, did those things, but the message in the book is that music and all the songs that I loved and the albums and the artists helped me get through my life. I mean, I don't know about you, James, but I can't imagine what my life would have been without music. Well, period. I mean,
well, I know what would happen. We'd be working next to each other in cubicles at Bank of America.
Could be.
We'd be going to lunch at Chipotle.
Yeah.
Which I still do anyway, but, you know.
So do I. Yeah, of course I do. It was 2 days ago. 2 days ago I did. So, no, man, listen, I am, you know what, one of the things that I think that people understand about me is I never want to lose that part of yourself that is the kid who was in a house in East Brunswick, New Jersey, singing through the fan for the Echo. Mm-hmm. Your parents didn't have a lot of money. You mowed lawns. You delivered papers to buy the records you loved. And music was the center of my world. And I mean, it always will be. I mean, I can't really help it. I believe me. When you ask me if I still pinch myself, I pinch myself all the time. I consider myself very blessed. I love music, rock and roll, soul, whatever. You know, like I just love. I mean, there's nothing more powerful than a song. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, in my mind, I mean, there's nothing that can actually overtake me than a song. And it could be like the heaviest tune of all time or the mellowest tune. I just love songs.
Or anything off All Mod Cons by The Jam.
One of my favorite albums of all time. Do you love it or no?
I love The Jam.
Do you?
I'll even give you some Style Council albums, too, while we're at it.
How about, how great is, Shout Out to the Top. I love that song.
Shout to the Top, Walls Come Crumbling Down. Yeah.
You know, it's really wild. My first wedding song on my first marriage that ended, my first ex-wife, was You're the Best Thing.
Which is a little maudlin, but appropriate for the moment.
It's very maudlin. I mean, it was the '80s too, and I got my girlfriend pregnant from college at Rutgers. But I will say, it was funny because my friend started on 45 and it was on the album. It was like it was like, I love Weller. What's really amazing for me is. And you are a fan of the Jam, big one, yeah. I mean,
Start in the City,
yeah,
Batman theme, whatever. Sure, I'm in for all of it.
Listen, for me, I was such a fan because at that period of time, I didn't tour England until I became friends with the Wonder Stuff, and went over there in '89. But I will say that England, because of the Beatles, because of the Stones, Who, Kings. Like Pistols, whatever, Buzzcocks, Clash, Jam, everything was, it was like you felt of it as a promised land. You weren't near it. You didn't really know much about it.
Right. It was exotic. It was mysterious.
It was a mythical
Yeah,
place.
Pre-internet. I mean, and that's true of rock and roll in general. Pre-internet, the mythology that you created as a fan in your head about your favorite bands.
Like we can say Zeppelin, we can say everything.
Sure. But to your point, like the Jam, I mean, that late 70s, early 80s period in Britain
was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you could turn on what was Top of the Pops and then I see a lot of the other shit, because I went back and bought bootlegs online of Top of the Pops because they erased all the early ones.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, when Bowie was on there, like Starman, they still exist as a photo, but
we should stop whatever we're talking about right now and zero in on Bowie, because another thing we have in common, Bowie was my favorite growing up, hands down. So you're telling these stories in the book about how you convinced them that Slow Burn was worth putting on the album. I mean, to me, 3 albums in particular. It's Diamond Dogs, it's Station to Station, and it's Scary Monsters.
Yeah, I love them all, and I love Ziggy and Hunky Dory too. You hear me tell the story about how I had my radio station on Jersey Shore play Kooks the day Jessica was born, my first daughter, and I held her in my arm. I held her in my hands, and I was a scared young dad. I'm like, holy shit.
Because as
I
parents,
may have to act like a grow up.
Yeah,
a grown up. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
It is frightening. That first kid's always terrifying. We as parents end up figuring it out, but that moment where it's like, it's all on me.
Yeah.
I can't mess this up. Oh man.
Oh my God. And I love her so much, and she's in New York City, works in New York City, and is doing her thing. She was in that Apple 6 commercial with Selena Gomez and Bill Hader, but she also does a bunch of indie film stuff, but she also works her ass off. So she's got my work ethic, which I love, and she's an amazing, amazing young woman. And I couldn't think of any song other than Kooks by Bowie from Hunky Dory.
It's a great one. That whole album, dude. Queen Bitch.
Yeah.
Which is that.
Oh, You Pretty Things and Changes.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I mean,
But Diamond Dogs was one I came to later, and you talk about it from
Diamond Dogs was my first album that I loved.
Well, and you talk about it from like a sexual awakening perspective too. But there are those. It's the 3-song trilogy on there. It's Sweet Thing, Candidate, and Sweet Thing. That is
one of my favorite things of all time.
With some of the best storytelling Bowie ever did. I mean, it's haunting. It's chilling.
It's so absolutely incredible to me. I lived with Diamond Dogs. That was my first Bowie album, and I told David, we were sitting. Like I said, I was sitting. I think that part's in the book, but we're sitting across each other on 2 couches at his place. And he goes, Matt, I love the fact that you remember the things about a lot of my stuff that I've forgotten. And I just said, David, you were my gateway. Diamond Dogs was a life-changing album for me. And why Diamond Dogs was the life-changing album was I realized I had to look much, much further than what was just presented and just look for new things, which I was already on the fast track to do, even as a kid who's 12, But I loved Diamond Dogs. And you know what's amazing? I don't know if you've ever heard these records. Have you ever checked out a guy named Scott Walker? You know who he is? All right, Scott Walker was in the Walker Brothers. He was American. He and these 2 other guys, none of them were brothers.
Okay.
But they moved to England.
Like the Ramones.
Yeah, exactly like the Ramones. They moved to England. You know the song, The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore. Mm-hmm. And then Make It Easy on Yourself. So they went over there. And in England, they were like, at that time, rivaling the Beatles for like, the women were going nuts, right? Scott, he kind of went inward, and the reason Bowie did My Death in Amsterdam was because they're Jacques Brel songs.
And that was that era, right? That was David Live, like 74.
Yeah, and even a little earlier too. But his thing was, David discovered Scott Walker and loves him. It's why he's in the documentary. That's why if you watch the Scott Walker documentary, 30th Century Man, you've got Sting crying. Most people go, really? You've got Radiohead and you've got David Bowie and those people going, this guy is a shit. He's also going off in like a crazy deep end thing, and he's a hermit. But
it's not like the Pentagram guy, is it? Like Bobby Liebling?
Yeah, well, not really. It's different, though. But Scott Walker, by the way, had put out 4 albums in a row that were solo records that are absolutely... And, I mean, this isn't for anybody who wants rock guitar records. It's not what it is. It's more folk and orchestra and a guy singing the darkest lyrics ever. It's so good.
If you're a fan of Nick Drake, maybe?
If you love Sweet Thing Candidate, Sweet Thing Reprise, these are the, and I suggest Scott 3 as the first one you get. But
I trust your judgment. We're going back to curation. I trust
Scott 1 through 4. But remember, what you're getting is it's like a dark Frank Sinatra, because he's a crooner.
I love dark stuff. And going back to Bowie, you talked about how Diamond Dogs, the album, was such an awakening moment for you. For me, the song Station to Station on Station to Station it's like a 10-minute dystopia. Yeah. It takes you on this insane ride, that slow, plodding, momentum-building, open, and then it just explodes and it becomes joyful, and it's nuts.
See, I don't remember everything I wrote in the book, but did I ever tell you the story that David told me? Or maybe it's in there about how that's the first time I saw David live, because I discovered him in 74, and then I went backwards, getting Ziggy, Aladdin saying pinups, hunky dory.
Which is the most fun thing as a music fan, when you discover an artist that you're into that has a catalog that you completely missed, to go back in and...
That's why I always say, James, that I'm a music enthusiast, not a music elitist. It's not when you find out about a record or an artist, it's that you find out about it.
Right on.
It's when you go, oh man, look at all this stuff.
Exactly.
And it gives you an arsenal of things that you love.
Like
You know?
the best thrill for me was discovering The Fall in the 80s. I'm like, oh, this is great. They've got 50 fucking albums to dive
Totally
into.
wired. How about Rock Records? Rock Records.
Oh, Big New Prince.
Big New Prince is great.
No, the song for me from that.
Hits the North.
No. The song for me is Deadbeat Descendant. It has the
it's
great guitar lick ever.
It does.
That
It's great. Manchester,
Uh-huh.
man. Manchester. What can we say about Manchester?
I should-
Buzzcocks, one of my favorite bands of all time back in that day.
Amazing. I should mention this is a food podcast, the world's only food podcast recorded in the car. Because you had 3 hours of oral today.
Yeah. Not oral sex, but oral surgery.
Sorry, you mentioned Sting. I got confused. I got
Tantric love.
Yeah, that's right.
Go ahead.
I actually bought food for myself because I wanted to maintain the high standards of the podcast. So
Yeah.
I went around.
I feel so bad, man. I just look. You know, it's
I
so
can't
funny.
even believe you're in the car, to be honest. After the day you've had.
Yeah. I mean, I almost died in the morning, and then my girlfriend and I went. I had 3.5 hours of oral surgery. But you know what, man? I did. You know what? I want to be a man of my word, and I wanted to come through and hang
You're
out
amazing.
with you.
Well,
And-
I bought myself food, which is now
Yeah.
like super cold. So
Yeah.
I'm going to eat it just to check that box. I went around the corner. Now,
Burger Meister, I love.
Burger Meister.
All right, that's my spot.
Okay.
That is my spot here, because I live up on Greenwich Street in San Francisco in North Beach. What it is, it's like it's. I mean, look at that view. How beautiful is that? Like up there on that hill, man.
I was saying as you were getting in the car, driving around San Francisco, it's like all the trailers for the Doctor Strange movie where buildings kind of fold into one another and the city's just like an Escher painting or drawing. The angles, the sharp angles these streets go on.
Yeah.
For someone who's not used to driving them, it's bonkers here. But it's also beautiful.
It is beautiful, but man, it is hard. I mean, you know, my friend Brian, when he moved here, he has a manual shift.
Oh, my
Not
God.
what you want in San Francisco.
No, sir.
You know what? Before you move here, if you ever come here or if you rent a car, make sure you have an automatic transmission because it's not what
no.
you want to deal with, you know?
And also make sure you know where the parking brake is. Actually, before
Yeah.
you got in the car, I had to break out the owner's manual. This is a very new, intermediate-sized car. I couldn't figure out where the parking brake was.
Yeah.
And we're at like a 40-degree angle here. It's this little button over here. I'm like looking for something to grab.
You know, isn't it funny how like any car, I always go through that when I rent a car.
Totally.
I go through like, all right, what does what? How do I do this?
Oh, dude. Nothing is more embarrassing than the first time I got into a rental car, had the key, couldn't figure out how to turn on the ignition. When I realized all you need to do is push the button.
Oh yeah, and
I almost got out of the car.
put your foot on the brake, right? I mean, I know. It's like unbelievable.
I almost went back to the desk and say, "I'm sorry, I don't know how to start the car." I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
We're gonna get through this. I'm gonna figure out how to turn the goddamn car.
But you're it's not unique. I'm telling you, James. Everybody goes through that stuff. It's crazy all the way around. I haven't even brought my car out here from New Jersey. It's still, back there. And I don't think I'm going to get a new car. I think I'm just going to
why
use
would
my
you?
girlfriend's car. I mean, look, I think the two of us will just use the same car. I mean, there's nowhere to park.
Right. Oh, no, I learned that when I was going to Burger Meister, which, by
Yeah.
the way, look at that. This is a work of art.
Oh, dude, Burger Meister is amazing.
Now, we were going to go somewhere else, though, for dinner. You recommended another burger place.
I know. Well, no, here's the deal. Burger Meister, though, it's my spot. Like, everybody in there knows me. I go there all the time. If you want to eat like a beef burger, it's amazing. If you want to eat a chicken breast, they'll also custom make anything that you want there. Burger Meister is one of my loveliest finds in San Francisco.
It's pretty great, too.
And I can walk 2 blocks away from here. I eat there.
I've got avocado and bacon and
Yeah.
pickled or grilled onions and mushrooms on this.
You know what I always do? There's one called the San Francisco, which is grilled onions, grilled mushrooms, blue cheese, and but except I don't like the bun. I get a potato bun, which I love, which is great. And then I put A1 on it because I love A1.
I love A1 too.
I do. I'm sorry. Even on chicken, I mean I love A1, right? And then if I get fries, I get their blue cheese dressing on the side. Or I use like straight up mustard. So I mean, but it's a go-to place for me here in San Francisco because I really, not to mention that the guys down there on Columbus Avenue are just the cool. There's just so many good people and cool people that work there. I love them as people. And I think the thing I love about living in North Beach is I love the idea of a neighborhood because that's how I grew up, man. When I grew up in Jersey, right? And it's funny because Rob Sheffield from Rolling Stone said to me after one of my book signings over at Word in Jersey City, he goes, Matt, it says a lot about you because all your friends came out and guys that are actually obviously nice people that you've known since you were like 7 or 8. And that's,
Well, it's a truism in business. It's a truism in life. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Don't be a fucking dick. And you know what? To have friend, you got to be a friend. You know what I mean?
Well, it's
that's
funny.
My whole deal. That's what I believe in. You know?
Along those lines, there are a couple stories in your book about you being, I don't know if selfless is the right word, but just trying to help a brother out. Your friend who wanted to propose to his girlfriend on stage at a Van Halen concert.
We did it.
You helped Carson Daly get the gig at MTV.
Yeah. I mean, I gave him Rod Ace's number and card. And, look, I mean, obviously, Carson's killing it, and I'm so proud of him. I mean, for me, the best thing in the world is, all right, so my old assistant, Allison Hagendorf, is the head of rock globally for Spotify. And she always says that I mentored her, which I did. I was different when I worked at Columbia Records or even at MTV. The thing that I did that was different than so many other people was I didn't close the door on people. I gave them time. So it's like Scott from Stereo Gum said the same thing to me. He goes, when I was an intern, you were the only person that engaged me. And that's his website. Like, I don't believe in not helping other people get into the business I love because I had no nepotism. My father was a school teacher, brilliant man. My mom was a secretary. I was a self-made dude. I mean, that's just what it is, man, and I just kept on swinging. You know what I mean? Like, so the fact that so many of my friends are doing well,
that resilience, that tenacity, just keep going and don't stop.
Yeah,
and then it'll come.
It really is. So, like, you got my friend Andrew Keller, who used to be at Columbia, signed a ton of great bands. Now he's at Capitol. You got all of these guys that I helped get jobs or mentored, and I think, and women, both, not just men. It was men and women, because I always had a philosophy that I knew what it was like to have the door slammed in your face, man. You know what I mean? It's like, I can understand. I mean, I've been there where your heart falls down to your feet. Well,
I think not wanting to help people, it's an ego thing. It's an insecurity thing.
Yeah.
Because when you have the approach that you have, which I'd like to believe a lot of people have, it's just, of course I'd help. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But I think and we've seen this in radio. I'm sure it's even worse on the television side. But people are always afraid who's going to take my job. You can't live life like that.
No, you can't. You know what? I mean, you have to. I know it sounds like a cliche, but the pay it forward philosophy is the way I look at things, and I feel that you can't keep what you don't give away, and you gotta help people out. And for me, that's why, obviously, I mean, I'm a human being. We don't have all the time in the world to help a million people,
right?
But when I've fallen in love with music or an artist or somebody I worked with was looking to get ahead, I included them in the things that I was doing because I believed, and I still believe, that you make them a part of what you do, and it's all part of the process of bringing it out, man. James, it was and you know what's so funny? I'm so proud of the people that I know that went through and got it done, and are doing amazingly. So, I mean, in the book, obviously it's called All These Things That I've Done. And by the way, I didn't want it to sound gratuitous, but we decided to name the book that. And, of course, it's the Alfred Hitchcock cover, which is very good.
I do love the Hitchcock cover, but, I mean, the title is tied to the Killers, and you explain your relationship with the Killers later.
And how he wrote the song. I inspired the song that night when we sat at the Las Vegas Hilton with me, him, and a bartender, and Braden Merrick, who runs a great label here in San Francisco called Bright Antenna, who was our old manager, called me the next day and said, "Oh, you got to hear the song Brandon wrote about you." So it was just, obviously an artist probably wants people to have a vague interpretation of it because they want people to make it their own.
For sure.
But it is where it came from. And
I love that story.
Yeah,
going back to the idea of don't be a dick, the Killers story in your book is another example of that. You were chasing the Killers, thought it was pretty much a done deal that you were going to get them signed. They ended up going to Island, right?
Island Def Jam, yeah.
And you were told, oh, they're the enemy now. They turned you down. And you're like, no, they're my friends. I was willing to go to the wall for these guys. It doesn't just turn off.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. There's the lesson.
There it is. It's the don't be a dick philosophy. And, I love that I've been friends with them that long. It's, for me, and that's why, like, when Sam's Town came out, I did the radio special. And I've done a bunch of stuff with them. And one of my favorite moments is me and Brandon Flowers from the Killers and Lou Reed sitting in Long Island City in a warehouse shooting the song Tantalize, the video for the B-Sides album, but it was going to be the single. And Lou Reed looks at Brandon and goes, "You know why I love Matt? Because he's trustworthy." And that was a really beautiful thing. I mean, Lou hates everybody.
Right. Oh, no. The stories of Lou Reed, I remember Jim DeRogatis, who's a local rock critic who's written a bunch of really good rock books.
I love Jim, but yeah.
But he tells the story of the first time he sat down to interview Lou Reed, and Lou Reed just smoked his cigarette and puffed it in Jim's face. One-word answers, just that kind of utter disdain for anyone else in the room.
Yeah. Lou, I don't know. It's in the book. I have my Lou Reed chapter, the Lou Reed Encounters chapter. And I just think, it was great that he took a liking to me, but I think he saw how genuine my love for
some of my
Underground and Lou and the stuff was.
Some of my favorite 80s childhood memories. New Sensations tour.
Yeah, I love you, Susanna.
Oh well, and my friend George on that album.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, what's the word? Talking about my friend George.
Yeah. Dude, I love you, Susanna, because my girlfriend Suzanne had just broken up with me, so I was.
You broke my heart and you made me cry.
Yeah, she broke up with me, so it was like perfect timing. My girlfriend Suzanne, who now I'm very, very close friends with, and her husband, but I mean, I was devastated when she dumped me.
But Lou Reed was there for you.
He was.
And the title track, New Sensations, I still love, too.
It's great, yeah.
Oh, man, took my GVC out for a ride.
Yeah, it's so
just
good.
Great storytelling.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Lou, it's funny, people either get Lou or they don't, but, I mean, I love Lou, and I love the Velvet Underground, and the fact that he and I became close, where we were emailing each other, and he'd come in and do my radio show and hang out. I mean, it was one of those things that was because his reputation was of
curmudgeon, bitter, and angry.
And it was also the reputation of someone like Maynard from Tool, who became one of my close friends, and I love. I don't know. I think that these guys, dealing with so many journalists over the years, recognize genuine love for music. And if they don't, whatever, but that's how it's interesting to me, I have to tell you this, James, how there are certain relationships in my life with artists that are basically considered very difficult, who become my close friends. But it's only because they're only willing to let a certain amount of people in.
Yeah, and they, just like you said, people can recognize people who are serious about music. On the other side of it, they can also smell a fraud.
Yeah, they can. Oh yeah, people can smell. People can. You know what, man? People can smell bullshit. From a mile away. Especially if you're intelligent. But I think generally, no matter what, I think it's which is why I said that thing in the book where I talked about how, before MTV, before there was a place to talk to artists, that like what you did with your and have done with your local show. If you're a fan of an artist and you see the most bullshit interview ever, you're just like, what the fuck? And back in those days when you were young, you would go, oh my God, that's all you're going to ask them?
Exactly.
And they're like, well, you want information. Like, you know what I mean? Like how you and I love Diamond Dogs. I mean, that's why that's how I was longing to be in radio and longing to work with artists, and I got lucky and grateful. It doesn't mean that obviously you can't do it without having some talent, but I mean, you know what they say about luck. It's when preparation meets opportunity. And
you were ready your whole life. I mean, you're
I've been preparing for it since I was 5.
Yeah, you're saying put me in coach from the age of 5.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. James, I love talking to you today, man.
Likewise. And again, we've been talking about it through the whole show. All these things that I've done, my insane, improbable rock life.
It's my
part 1.
It's my book. Yeah. Oh, part 2. Oh my God, there's stuff. I told you there was that story, but you know what? There's a great story that I didn't put in the book about me, Perry Farrell, Jerry Cantrell, Tom Morello, all of us doing this concert at Sing Sing Prison. Like, there's stuff. Dude, there is stuff. Like, there's definitely.
You're the Forrest Gump of rock and roll.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes I feel like when I can't speak.
But you're also like a rock.
I love that movie.
You're a rock anthropologist, really.
Yeah, I'm grateful. Hey, I'm just so glad that I found a means of expression in my life. I love radio. I love music. I love that you can share a story and that someone can grab a hold of it and hold it in their memory. And, that's the beauty of it. And that's what I hope people take away from the book, because it's I'm humble. I'm grateful. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not some asshole bragging about, oh, yeah, well, then I'm with you too, and whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I'm in Guam. I'm at Mongolia with somebody. I'm just making those places up. Never been to either. But I will say, love music and relate. One of the things I said is that, you know what? I hail every DJ, writer, music fan, songwriter, the kid sitting in his room, male or female, because the music is like, it's getting them through. I love and hail and celebrate that. And that's really what the whole thing's about. So to have the opportunity to write this book, I mean, man.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm shocked sometimes. I'm like, all right.
Well, Matt, I can't thank you enough. Well, thanks for writing the book. Thanks for all that you've done for music. And I can't thank you enough for coming here on what has to be the shittiest day of the year so far for you.
Oh, it is.